Very nice.
Nice, plenty of sustain.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
What tasty treats do we have in store today, Michael?
Yes, well, we thought there was 2 other videos we were going to do today, and some stuff didn't turn up, so we had to come up with something quickly.
We did.
So we decided to think about the things we get asked most often, and one of the things we get asked about most often is small amps, because that's what most people use most of the time. And what can you do to a small amp to make it sound like a bigger amp? So we thought, how about speakers? Let's talk about speakers, because we've done a couple of shows, one show on speakers that was really popular, raised a ton of questions. So Fender Bassbreaker 15.
It's a great little amp, actually. I remember when this came out, I was so impressed with it. Really, really cool thing.
So 15 watt Fender amp, most people might think of the Blues Junior, which is super popular. This one is a little more versatile in that it's got more gain in it, it's got a couple of extra features, it's got an effects loop. It's a little bit more modern minded. I think it's might even be a little bit less expensive, don't quite know, but it's super popular. So we thought, let's listen to the Bassbreaker. It's a 1x12. Let's listen to it on its own into a 212 and a 412 cab, and then just for fun we've got a really tiny amp. What is that?
This is the Vex Nanohead. It's a 1 watt, I think. It's a 1 watt valve amp. It's unreal.
These have been available a long time, but I've got a feeling, is this a Vexter series one maybe?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's a Nanohead. And that is a guitar amplifier.
A guitar valve amplifier. Look at the valves in it. Look at the little valves. Look at the tiny little valves.
They're like... Simon's laughing. They're like the ones you'd find in a MiG jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one that heats the water for the tea.
In the MiG?
Yeah. When they're bored. No wars on at the moment. Actually, that's not true. There are wars on at the moment. Shouldn't make light of that. Right. I'll tell you what else is interesting, Daniel.
Tell me.
This show goes out on a Friday.
And yes.
And on Monday, which is...
Today.
Here's we are recording this on a Monday. It will go out on a Friday. But on the Monday following this show going out, so today is Friday, you're watching this. Let's say today is Friday, you're watching this. On Monday, there will be a Q&A about this video where Dan and I sit in front of a camera and answer your comments and questions that have come in over the weekend. We've just done our first one ever. It's gone live, Dan. It went,
just now?
It went live 10 minutes ago.
Right.
And I can tell you that it has had 312 views.
Okay, wow, in 10 minutes?
In 10 minutes. It's had 16 comments. Perfect timing for my journey home. I like it. Where do you get the energy? That's a good question. I can tell you it's not drugs.
That's what she said.
What a pleasant surprise. Good idea. Please more on Mondays. I like it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, good.
Brilliant.
You like it. So hopefully we'll keep doing it. So yeah. Ask questions and comments about this video over the weekend. We'll answer the best ones, or at least the most interesting ones, or the most common ones on Monday.
Very good.
Blimey. Nothing like beginning with a massive tangent. What are your questions then, Dan?
I want to know, okay, we had a gig recently, and I'm used to playing big rooms, loud venues. When I was doing all the walkabout pubs in London, and they had, bands, and loud venues, and I could take amps and turn them up. It was awesome. The last couple of gigs I've done, that hasn't been appropriate, and indeed the gig that we did, I took an amp rig that I certainly didn't think was crazy, and I literally couldn't hear myself on stage, and I was still being told to turn down.
I've got a theory about that.
Okay.
I think he thought you were me. I've been thinking about it, because I couldn't hear you at all. And I reckon he had his channels mixed up. And I'm there blasting away with the 2-Rock and a Victory Sheriff 44. Loud as hell. Like, And I reckon he thought you were me.
Oh, okay.
And vice versa.
Oh,
So, because you've been struggling with that.
I have been.
Yeah.
I have been. However, you know, there's a reason that the little amps are popular.
Yeah.
Because so many of the, so many of the big amps are just inappropriate for loads of venues.
Yeah.
So, the question is, that to me, I'm used to a big sounding thing. Can we get that to sound big?
Can we get it to? Yeah. What difference does it make if you take that 1x12 format and then you make it 2x12 and then you make it 4x12? Clearly, not very many people carry around 4x12s anymore, but we'll do it for the hell of it.
Sure.
Yeah, which is a sad thing, but anyway.
I remember getting my first Marshall 4x12. Did I tell you this? I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
I had the tiniest little car, and all I had to do was fit it somehow in my car, and it was a Mitsubishi Colt, little 2-door thing, and I'm there outside the music shop, and I'm there for 20 minutes trying to shove this thing, and I'm going, it's gonna fit, and eventually we got it in, and my seat was hunched over the steering wheel like this, but it didn't matter because I had my 4x12. It's like, okay, I'll fit it in the car. Brilliant, let's go. I had no gigs, but hey,
it's a well.
Right, there we go.
We'll discover how much 4x12 cabs, how much fun 4x12 cabs are in a minute. Right.
So let's hear the Bassbreaker.
Okay, and we've got a selection of stuff on the board just to keep it interesting.
Yes.
You heard the Bassbreaker at the beginning, and you heard it with an NRG Kicker, I believe.
Yeah, with the Pantheon, NRG Kicker, Echoplex, and the Verbotrem.
Okay, so here it is with single coils.
Mm-hmm. Splang.
It's so quiet, I'm hitting the guitar to try and make it louder.
Right.
Right.
Yep. It does seem quiet. Great sound though. There you go.
Nice.
Great.
Very nice. I'm struggling keeping this guitar in tune. It's not the guitar's fault, it's my fault. Actually, it does have a sticky... I've put strings on it that are heavier than it was
Oh, okay.
supposed to have, so the
Right.
nut, I think, is sticking a bit, and the G string I'm really struggling with, so...
Okay. Can I ask another question?
Yeah,
What I don't understand is, like, Dougie's not a quiet drummer.
yeah.
Wonderful drummer. Not quiet. Except when he's playing with Dishan here in the room.
Dougie being our drummer.
And when you go to a gig and the sound guy can set everything up and the drummers can play really loud and you go, yeah, sound guy goes, turn down. What's that about?
Yeah, because what you're getting off a snare drum when the guy hits it with a good rim shot, 120 something dB,
Yeah.
easy. Anyway,
so here we go.
okay, so it's good. Just to explain what happened, the Bassbreaker 15, I'll tell you where the pots are. I was going to say I'll take a picture of it, but technology probably won't allow that. It's on the lowest gain setting.
Right.
Because
with the most headroom.
Dan and I like a bit of headroom.
Yep.
So it's on the lowest gain setting. The gain is at 10 o'clock. Bass is at 11 o'clock. Middle is at 11 o'clock. Treble is at 1 o'clock. Master is at 3 p.m. And the reverb is currently off.
Very good.
Should we have a little bit?
Reverb.
Let's have a little bit.
Yeah, have a little
Do you want to see what? Give us a...
No, it's okay.
It's the digital reverb.
Yeah.
I can't play without reverb.
Sure.
Just it's just listen to the difference between these guitars.
Yeah.
It raises an interesting question for that, me. Sorry, we will get onto the main topic in a minute, but we do get a lot of questions about how do you balance up amps for different guitars, and that would be, for me, that would be a balance that was
unworkable.
I would have to do something about that.
Am
I? Okay, go on, play again. Play again.
There you go. Still though. That's much better.
Okay, Dan had the on the 3-2-1 switcher. You can see on the board there, each of the inputs has its own preamp. And it was on and it was turned up, which is why it was so much louder.
Okay.
Now I feel a little bit better.
There you go.
Okay, probably nullifying my last comment about balancing up the. I think when you've got a big amp and it's really loud, those differences are something that you work with.
Definitely.
Whereas here, it's like, this is way too weak.
Yeah.
I need something with humbuckers.
Yeah.
But when this is loud, my Strat's the same. It's really quiet. The clarity and the definition you get from the guitar at volume, it's like a paradox. It almost becomes much more articulate and more, anyway, blah blah blah. Right, go on.
Well, that's the thing for me, because I'm playing at volume and I'm used to that. I'm used to hearing the difference between the guitars and all that sort of stuff. And when you get to a situation like this, it just, everything feels choked, and I struggle with it. So the idea behind this is there a way that, it doesn't have to be a volume thing, but just, by changing the speaker cab, do we get that extra lift?
And then let's go through that, and then we'll do two interesting things at the end. Then we'll plug in the 1 watt Z-Vex, and we'll plug in something with much more watts. We'll keep them the same volume, and we'll just see what that difference in feel is like. Yeah.
Groovy.
Okay. So what else is interesting? We stepped on the Vex Box of Rock, which we're both loving at the moment. If this pedal was set like that in my 2 Rock, or in the Matchless, or in any big amp with some decent headroom,
take your head off.
Would absolutely take your head off. And just let's listen to the volume lift there a sec. Tell you what I really like about that is while that extra headroom lift in a big amp could be really nice, it's sending that into really chewy territory.
Yeah.
And it's giving you all that. We've discovered something in this room where, well, not just in this room, but we've discovered something over the years of doing the show, that getting a big amp to sound really chewy and nice and good fun is pretty difficult.
It's challenging.
And when it gets recorded, the high watt was a great example. Do you remember when we did that?
Yep.
A lot of people said, well, I don't
get it.
Don't really get what you're talking about, because the high watt, you're saying it's so amazing and so visceral and so loud, but out here in YouTube
on the phone, I'm not getting the hugeness.
But even mixing the audio in headphones, I thought, actually, that does sound a bit flat.
Right.
Because the microphone's not hearing what your chest and your gut is hearing. Whereas actually, the chewiness of that, I suspect, is gonna come across quite well recorded.
It's like Bruce Springsteen. I didn't get Bruce Springsteen for a long time until I saw him live. And after I saw Bruce Springsteen live, everything I heard recorded of his makes sense. So you go and see a high watt in person, you experience it, you go, ah! And then then when you hear a high watt on the album, you go, ah! But till that moment,
it's the BS effect.
I think so.
Okay.
Very good. All right. And just to keep the Tweed on for me for a minute, because there's a mid-range thing happening in the Tweed that's really nice.
You'd struggle to get a Tweed driving that hard, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least you'd be Joe Bonamassa with your 2 high-powered Tweeds.
Yeah.
Turned up to 10.
Yeah.
But it's pushing that quite nicely.
Really, I really like it. That's a mid-range thing. It's really nice.
Cool. Okay, I won't change any of those then.
Perfect.
And we'll come back to those in a sec.
Okay.
So let's do this.
Okay.
Let's
do
it first.
Okay.
Just with no overdrive.
Yes.
So give me the guitar into the amp, and I will swap the cabs out as we go.
Okay. Wow.
Quite a serious difference.
That is crazy.
What from the playing position, what are you experiencing?
Well, you get used to the one thing, and then that plugs in and it has all this body and depth to it that you feel like you can, at the moment, with that sound, it's so mid-focused that there's nothing to sort of lean against.
Yeah.
But as soon as you change the cabs, with the size of that sound, all of a sudden I had something to sort of feel against.
I think there might be, in a live situation, some of that mid-range might be beneficial.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
So you'd probably want to run a bit less bottom end into the bigger cab.
Yeah.
Let's get into that in a minute. Okay, that's interesting.
That's very interesting. I didn't think it'd be that pronounced, to be honest.
So the cab in question is a Victory V212VC, which contains 2 Celestion medium magnet Creambacks. Okay, so it's different speaker. Sure, we're not dealing with apples and apples here. We're dealing with chalk and day. We're dealing with chalk and cheese, night and day. No, we're not. We're dealing with different things. So it's not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
The microphones are exactly the same, and they're positioned in the same place, and they're gained
Right.
to the same level.
Mm-hmm.
The speaker in the Bassbreaker, I've never actually... Is it V-Type, maybe?
Is that not the neodymium?
No, it's definitely not Neo. It is the V-Type, Celestion V-Type. G12 70-watt V-Type.
There you go.
And when I swap the speakers over, what I'm doing is both of these cabs are 16 ohms, and the speaker in the amp itself works at 8 ohms, so I'm just changing the impedance and plugging the new speaker in.
Okay, right.
Okay?
Yep.
So let's go back to the Bassbreaker again then.
It's like your little cousin that comes over once every few weeks and just goes. I mean, it's cool,
That
but
never happened to me.
did you not have a cousin that was an absolute pain on the neck?
I did actually, yeah.
Oh, there you go. That is a massive difference.
Play that same lick.
Oh man,
That does sound, to me, sounds
Fantastic.
actually quite a lot nicer than that 212 as
yeah.
well. Interesting. Oh god.
Now, but it's why is it louder?
Does it seem louder to you?
Yeah,
It seems louder in different places to me. It seems bigger.
yeah.
So the bottom end is obviously considerably bigger. By the way, in the mix today, I'll just explain that 4x12 is a Marshall 1960 AX. So it's a Marshall 412 with Celestion G12M Greenbacks. So it's got 4 Greenbacks, okay? So again, different thing again.
It's amazing how you remember all that stuff.
Different type of speaker.
It's great.
It's 20 years of getting things wrong in magazines. So yeah, different speakers, but that's interesting in itself, I think. Does it seem louder to you?
Yeah.
Does it? Because they're less
yeah.
efficient. There's 4 of them, but they're less efficient.
Right.
Less efficient than these as well, I believe, or maybe they're about the same.
It might just be the frequency thing. It just sounds so much bigger.
I suppose it's possible that they're breaking up a bit less. Are they? Because there's 4 of them.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if that would be giving me what I'm perceiving as more volume.
And what about if as part of the breakup there's some compression?
Yeah, maybe. That instantly just feels awesome. I'd have to work really hard with that. And I'd have to have stuff back in the monitors and getting to EQ it. That's just...
So in an attempt to sound better at low volume at your small gig,
yeah.
what you're going to take is a 4x12 cab.
In a Mitsubishi Colt.
Awesome. Right, let's get on. Let's select an overdrive pedal. Pick which one do you like?
Let's try the Tweed one into that for a second.
Just can you play like a lowy?
Oh man.
What's 260 ohms in parallel? Is that 4 or 8?
260 ohms in parallels,
Yeah.
8. So that's the outside two cabinets together, right?
No, you're just back into the 412. You were in the 2 for a little while, and then I pulled the speaker out. And
Right.
You did have them both at one point.
Okay. I thought that this would be interesting, right? I did, honestly. I thought this would be really interesting to see how... I literally had no idea that the difference would be this. What I didn't expect was the volume lift. I didn't expect that lift in clarity, and it might not be
I'm
volume,
watching,
but it's definitely like the way that I'm perceiving the frequencies.
Yeah. Well, so I think that increased bottom end definitely,
Right.
definitely, and there's 4 speakers,
Yeah,
so it's moving more air. I mean, there'll be a million comments on basic physics and why we're such idiots, but it's
Which we're happy to answer on Monday.
it's 4 speakers filling up a space a bit more, isn't it? So
yeah.
not only that, hang on, let's also say the top 2 speakers in the Marshall are pointed at you.
Right.
The one in the Fender is pointed at the back of your legs.
Yeah.
Go stand over there.
I was going to say, from here, the 212 is a lot louder.
Is it?
Really?
Well, it should. The speakers are more efficient, so that kind of makes
And
sense.
a lot more low end,
Yeah.
like boomy low end, which is interesting.
I'm going to change. I'm going to go to the Box of Rock.
Okay.
Actually, the old didn't hold on too bad to that. I thought that was going to
Compress
die,
out, yeah.
but it didn't hold on. It didn't do too badly
No.
with that crazy level of gain.
When you walk out there,
Yeah, what were you hearing over there?
it's totally different.
Okay, so Dan, we are currently about 4 feet from the amps, maybe 5, and Dan walked to about 10 or 12 feet away.
Yep. The 4x12 has the most clarity,
Yeah.
but the bottom end out there, kicking from that thing, is unbelievable.
Really?
Unbelievable. It's not as big as that, but I thought it was going to be this tiny little puny thing, like from here. And I don't know if it's because if it's an open back and the way that
Yeah.
it cycles.
Yeah.
But chalk and cheese and day and night stood over there.
Stood over there.
The Summer's right. The 2x12 has the most bottom end, but 2x12 is more compressed
Yeah.
than anything else.
I know. I felt it. I felt the compression.
Right.
I felt the compression least in the 412.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't think because it's got the weakest speakers.
Mhm.
However, it is closed back,
Mm.
so maybe more of that energy is coming forward instead of going out the back and all around. And
Yeah. Oh man, that is fascinating. That is fascinating. But yet that, you know, from that distance, the combo is great. Not as good as the 4x12.
yeah,
Different than the 2x12. The 2x12 got a lot more bottom end. But it's a tonal taste
yeah,
choice between those two.
yeah.
That for me is it's more, you know.
Yeah.
It's
It certainly feels the best.
yeah,
It feels the most pleasing to play to me.
that's fascinating.
But you see, so when I mix the audio, I'm gonna put more room mic in than normal. Normally we would have 2 microphones on each of the cabinets, but because we don't have 3 sets of mics, there's just 1 mic on each, so it's the same mic. And I will introduce more room mic into it, so that hopefully we get more of what Dan's talking about, because the room mics are just above his head where he was stood.
Can you play some Strat for me? I just want the thing is, are we coming to the end?
No.
I just want it because I want to hear the top end. That's, you know, Marshall, bit of rock. Sorry, not much. Les Paul, bit of rock, sounded ace, but I want to hear that.
The Strat journey continues. Blue and red, so Dan's telly and my Strat are both being refretted. Pick them up tomorrow or Wednesday.
Louis.
And I'm kind of holding on to this as a bit of a reference in the meantime, because it does sound old.
Sounds lovely.
It does sound old. McMull S Classic. Sometimes I say Classic S Classic.
Okay.
It's going to have a bit more reverb if you don't mind.
Yeah, you express yourself.
What did we have earlier? We had this kicker. What's this?
That is a JFET transistor boost.
If you've watched our episode with Josh Scott of where's he from?
JHS.
Yeah, the clue's in the name, isn't it? JHS pedals. We discussed things like JFETs, transistors, op amps, and all of that just recently.
Just fascinating.
Super interesting video. Okay, so it's a JFET booster, yeah?
JFET booster. So the right hand side switches are the bass, left hand side switches are the treble. Man, the bottom end in that thing sat here. It's just something else.
So, from my perspective, playing this guitar, it's a pleasing sound.
Yeah.
It's the something about the mid-range that's nice, but I feel like I've got to play more notes
Right.
to fill up the space that's not there.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Because it feels small, and actually I think you'd get used to it pretty quick. You just have some confidence in knowing that everything was going to be all right.
It's like you're solo through the wah pedal. Just hit the wah and all of a sudden you're going, way!
But with the two extension cabs, particularly that one, so this one is definitely, I'm getting a feeling of compression.
Yep. Man, interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if it's something to do with the open back thing.
I don't know. It's
Anyway,
fascinating.
it feels like the speakers are giving up a little bit before than they are in there. I don't know if that is the case or not, but there's very little compression happening there under the fingers.
Yeah.
And certainly from where I'm sat, the highs feel more complete over there. Like they're not being lost.
No.
And of
It's
course
so
the bottom
interesting.
end.
Yeah, but when you dig in, that Chili Peppers riff type thing you were playing, it was so good, and the detail in the note is all there.
Yeah.
Whereas that would be lost,
A little bit.
a little bit. But if you're playing like that sort of clean, heavy hand style thing, you need that clarity and that detail. Yes, sounds amazing. The other thing that I'm so amazed with is that I know we've done speaker things before, but to be reminded of just how important that the speaker choice is. It's half the game.
At least,
It's incredible.
isn't it?
Incredible.
At least. And of course there'll be loads of comments going, oh, you should have tried this speaker or that speaker. Well, we can't try every speaker and every cab and every amp, so we have to make some decision there.
But you
All
get
right.
the idea. You get, it's like, okay, if the changes are that massive, the impetus to go and, if you're not quite happy with something, with the sound, maybe that's something to try.
To be honest, it's why I always tended, or latterly tended, to get heads,
Yeah.
because then you can pair them up with,
Yeah. Right.
the difference. So 2-Rock, which I use a lot, Classic Reverb Signature, really does sound different on the 112 WGS loaded cab than on the 212 2-Rock cab. Not just because it's a 112 and a 212, but because of the character of the speakers as well. The Zilla custom cabs that we have, some of them with different speakers, they make a huge difference. So yeah, it's going over all ground to say that it's a really great way to give your amp a new lease of life. But that's sort of where we came in.
Do you
wasn't
need
it?
to be reminded of that though, because it's huge. It's huge.
Okay, so I think we've decided that we probably like the 412 best.
Yep.
Surprise, surprise. I tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to getting a Pro Junior. This is what Michael Landau told me. He likes to use the Pro Junior through his favourite Marshall 412.
Really?
Which is exactly what we did at
Analog Man.
At Analog Man. Hello, Mike. Right, so, okay, how long have we been going, Simon?
About 45 minutes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Let's finish this up and have a listen to that Vex Nanohead.
So this is 1 watt. We've been going 15.
15 watts of
This is-
EL84.
All right.
And now we're 1 watt of MIG kettle valves.
All right.
Okay, so we've gone from
Headroom.
neighbour annoying, can't play that loud at home. We were probably knocking 110, maybe 185, something like that, as a rough guess. We've now gone down to like bedroom,
Yes.
proper, genuine bedroom levels. I've increased the input gain on the audio interface massively,
Okay. Let me turn down.
but it's still very quiet, right?
Yeah, still very quiet. I'm going to make it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit because it's. If you just play for us for 1 second.
So that's about the extent of the clean headroom.
That's as clean as I can possibly get it.
Okay, and that is this loud. So we're going to keep talking. We never do this. That's this loud. So it's way below. Well, it's about the same as the talking level.
Yeah.
So let's turn that up. I'm going to turn up the input gain. Keep playing. Give us a welly.
Interesting.
I could get into that.
Yeah, have a go.
The only thing that is weird, which I never like, is being able to hear the pick on the strings.
Acoustically.
Yeah, which is kind of odd, but
yeah.
actually, it's pretty good sound.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. I could happily live with that.
I just want to see.
I tell you what's interesting about that is dynamic in it. Even though it's quiet, once your ear readjusts from the loudness in the room, there's still dynamic under the fingers.
Yeah.
That to me is genuine bedroom level.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to see if the acoustic sound of this is louder than the amp. You are totally right. I could really get used to that. But with this guitar, because this is so loud, it does compete with just the volume of the amp.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely sound. I'm
It is.
really looking forward to seeing how whether it records.
Me too, because there's dynamic there.
Yeah.
There is definitely dynamic in that
So
sound,
interesting.
where it's very hard to get dynamic out of a loud amp at low volume.
How would you record that at home at that level? What's the secret?
Just stick a mic on it and have plenty of amp gain.
Just enough amp gain.
Sorry,
from
and,
the
enough preamp
Right.
gain. Yeah. Why not? I mean, there's not much of a room benefit to be had unless your room. I mean, you could just stick your room mic. You could stick your mic a couple of feet away,
Right.
and have loads on it, but then you'd hear the plectrum, and you'd hear every move of your foot, and
So interesting. What a cool little thing.
it is a cool little
Yeah.
thing, actually. Yeah, quite different. Takes a minute just to come down from
that-
the cranked 15 watts.
Yeah.
But similarly, if you're not used to playing that kind of amp or any kind of amp at that sort of volume, that can be quite an unpleasant experience as well.
Yeah.
Visceral, hard to play until you've done it a lot, and then it becomes kind of normal. But
So interesting.
well, Daniel, I'm not sure what we've learned, but it's been blooming interesting.
It's been very interesting. Yes, there's a massive, 4x12 is, for lots of people, massively impractical. But
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. I'm used to lugging PAs and stuff around the gigs. Lugging a 4x12 is just like carrying a sub in.
You can't take it on the bus. Well, you could, but
No.
it would be inconvenient.
What gigs are you going to on the bus?
Lots of people do. Seriously,
Yeah,
lots of comments in that pedal show videos. It's like, I don't have a car, or I need to travel across town, or I don't have a van.
If you're flying and
Yeah. I've only got a Vespa.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reminded of the importance of, whatever you is providing the power, how important that pairing up of the cabinet, not just the speaker, but the cabinet.
Yeah.
Just
I would add to that if you are struggling, or at least it's not satisfying to play a small box for whatever reason, sacrificing a bit of space at home, maybe sacrificing a bit of convenience just for a slightly bigger box does make a colossal difference, doesn't it?
Oh, just for pure enjoyment.
Yeah. And I certainly think for recording as well.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. Sound of a small amp, small box, small speaker is a very specific thing, and it's loved for lots of very good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Me, I'm a bigger box fan, I have to say. Don't mind admitting that.
Yeah. No, me too.
Good.
Brilliant. Hope you enjoyed that, guys.
The one thing we didn't do was put a loud amp on, but if you want to hear loud amps,
Just watch any other
watch
video
any
we've ever
other-
done.
That pedal show video. Yeah.
Great. That was awesome. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and we will get to them on Monday for you. Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon.
Thank you.
Yes. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is.
And this is music of Guildford in Surrey.
In the US of A is.
Would be Riff City Guitar of various locations.
And
He's growing. Joe's got an empire building.
he does.
It's great to see. Congratulations.
If any man was going to build an empire, it's going to be Joe. Legend. But great bunch of guys. And in Australia,
Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
I've just lost my passport.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
literally just been revoked.
Just gone.
Okay, also, massive thank you to anyone that's gone to that Pedal Show store and purchased yourself a t-shirt or a cup warmer or a microwave utensils. It's all there.
Barbecue tools.
Oh, can we?
My wife's dad used to work for Snap-on, the tool manufacturer,
Really?
and they had an awesome range of barbecue tools.
Of course, cost the earth though. Those
Oh yeah,
things.
yeah. So I think that's an option for us next. Yeah,
Right.
there's some good stuff in store. Please buy it. Keeps us going.
Is this going out before Christmas?
Yes.
Okay, some great Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or holiday, if you prefer.
Yeah. There you have it. Brilliant, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.